Starting your day the right way is crucial. Sometimes all you need is a little push, and then everything goes as smooth as possible. What are your mornings like lately? Do you enjoy them? Actually, I do like mine. Nothing feels better than getting that productive momentum in the beginning of the day and then simply keep going in that direction. But the thing is, you can decrease your chances of meeting your expectations for the day if something goes totally wrong quite soon after you wake up. Sometimes your whole day seems to be already ruined, even though it has been only several hours of you being awake. Like spilling a cup of coffee all over yourself at your work or school. Quite frustrating. Of course, we can't always predict such things. They might happen once in a while, even at inconvenient times, but what we can change is some of our habits. They occur regularly and are easier to foresee, like drinking coffee and eating a bowl of cereals. I'll call some of them bad morning habits, and I know bad is kind of a valid judgment. What I mean by this word in this particular case is habits that can slow you down in the morning and make you get distracted from your goals for the day. Let's get straight into it. Scrolling social media. Would you completely avoid using your phone for 3 months as an experiment? Quite likely, you wouldn't want to do that. Me neither. It's quite hard for a modern man or woman to imagine even one day without internet. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to tell you that it is the root of all evils. I'm glad I'm living in a century when you can have access to unlimited amount of information, you can read, watch and listen to whatever you want, you can find answers to many of your questions in a couple of minutes or even seconds. You can stay in touch with your friends who may live hundreds or even thousands miles away from you. But with that amount of stuff going on in the internet, you might get lost sometimes and spend your time not on what you initially planned on doing. So, especially when it comes to electronic devices, I believe moderation is important. Perhaps you've heard something about phone or computer addiction. As you may know, dopamine is responsible for your motivation, drive, and craving. It is often called a universal currency for measuring the addictive potential of any experience. The more time you spend regularly scrolling social media, the more time you need next time to experience pleasure. After that increased dopamine state, its levels drop below the baseline, so you get into a dopamine deficit state, and you don't feel as motivated as you otherwise would without scrolling Instagram, for example. I personally faced this problem numerous times. I decide to relax a little and check my phone during my break, but after that, I feel even more unmotivated to work than before that break. So if you immediately take your phone as soon as you wake up and after that feel really hesitant to do anything productive, maybe this is the reason. Around 70% of people check their phones within 10 minutes of waking up. I don't like to start my day this way at all, especially considering things I've just talked about. Thus, I feel like I'm more in control of myself and focus on things that really matter to me at the time. I noticed that I tend to procrastinate much less if I avoid indulging myself in using YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or any other social media in the morning. Breakfast and TV. Eating your breakfast and not watching TV or scrolling social media might seem really boring. But even if it feels so, multitasking may not be a great way to start your day. First and foremost, multitasking is a common misconception. It might seem like you're really focused on two different tasks at the same time. Many people believe they are capable of doing so. But the truth is, our focus isn't designed that way. The chances are what's really happening is switching between two tasks. It's kind of counterproductive, and multitasking can really waste your time. Another thing I believe you should take into consideration is that unrelated to eating activities during your meal, such as watching TV, may distract you. When your attention isn't focused on what you're eating, you might overeat. In this study, eating when distracted produced a moderate increase in immediate intake, but increased later intake to a greater extent. So what you may do instead of multitasking is practice attentive eating. Don't rush, take small bites and chew properly. Take away distractions and think about your meal. Inconsistent sleep schedule. Imagine you stayed up late because you were watching an interesting movie yesterday or were at your friend's place. It's already 7 in the morning and your alarm is going off. You're feeling sleepy and don't want to wake up, even knowing that you have work that needs to get done. You hit the snooze button and sleep for 10 more minutes. And then it happens again. You still want to sleep, so you push the button and fall asleep. Maybe this cycle repeats yet another couple of times. Finally, you wake up and still feel a little drowsy. Personally, I'm not a fan of extreme shifts in my sleep-wake cycle, and quite often, in such cases, it was hard for me to readjust quickly and work productively. Some studies claim that sleep consistency may affect health and cognitive performance. In these studies, sleep quality, duration, and consistency were significantly associated with better academic performance. And in this one, greater variability in total sleep time and wake time were associated with increased depression. Waking up without a plan. I recommend you planning your day ahead in the evening for a number of reasons. Firstly, it will be easier for you to wake up. I noticed that staying in my bed longer is much easier when I don't know what exactly I need to do today. But when I keep in my head that there is a lot of stuff to do today and I have a clear plan of actions, it may feel more effortless to get out of bed and start preparing for my most important tasks. Secondly, it will save you time. No need to spend too much on planning in the morning if you've done it properly the day before. Just make slight changes and you'll be ready to start. And thirdly, you won't feel overwhelmed. Feeling uncertain about your future actions is quite frustrating. But if you already planned your next day before going to sleep, your next actions won't seem so chaotic. So by this activity, you reduce extra steps needed to take before starting your day. What you also need to consider while creating such plans is where, how, when, and maybe for how long you're going to do this particular task. Clear goals are important, and effectiveness of implementation intentions is backed by science. So what you can do at the end of the day is think and write down a plan that will help you make your getting momentum and getting into flow state tomorrow much easier. Having an unhealthy breakfast. What types of food come to your mind when you hear a word breakfast? Maybe one of them is breakfast cereals. It's quite popular, especially in the United States. A lot of people are used to consuming sugary food in their mornings. Sugar consumption is related to some illnesses. For example, consumption of sugary sweetened beverages is associated with obesity in children, and sugar availability appears to be correlated with diabetes prevalence. So consider it next time you think about your grocery list. Sugar is only one of the things you should take into account, but today I'm not going to go into details of a healthy diet, even if I had deep knowledge in this subject. But if you want a quick summary of what healthy diet may look like, I'll leave a link of dietary guidelines for Americans in the description under this video. But it would be even better to visit a certified nutritionist and find out what he thinks about your current diet and what he can recommend. How can you optimize your morning routine easily? Write down everything you usually do in the morning. Look at each activity and decide whether it's good for you. If it's neutral and doesn't waste a lot of your time, you can let it be. But if it's really bad for your productivity, mental or physical health, you should think of alternative activities. Now that you're done with deleting unimportant tasks for tomorrow, think about what you should add. Maybe you want to build a skincare routine and add it to your every morning. After you're done with that and edit every step of morning routine you need, estimate how much time they will take together. If it's too much, it's okay. Prioritize and leave only things that are most important. After that, you should check whether all of them are crystal clear for you and you know what you should do, how, when, and where. Put them in the right order. And last but not least step, prepare your environment for tomorrow. Clean your workspace and get everything you need so you won't have to do it tomorrow. Now, let's summarize. Starting your day the right way is really important. Despite the fact that you can't predict everything, there are some things that occur regularly. It's not difficult to spot them, and it's worth paying special attention to your habits, such as scrolling social media, which can decrease your productivity in the morning, multitasking while eating breakfast, which can be associated with overeating and can simply waste your time, or not sticking to a consistent sleep schedule, which again can affect your productivity. And last thing I included in this video was planning in the evening, namely creating implementation intentions before going to sleep rather than after waking up. Subscribe and watch other videos if this one was helpful, and have a good day.